FIDE Candidates tournament resumes on Monday, the 19th of April. The 8 participants will be back in the Siberian city of Yekaterinburg to resume the tournament, the second half of this Candidates tournament, and the winner will play Magnus Carlsen for the World Chess Crown at the end of the year. Is this the longest ever halftime break in any sporting event of all time? I think it might be. By the time the tournament concludes on Tuesday the 27th or the 28th, if there are tie breaks, it'll be over a year since the seventh round. The seventh round of the Candidates was played on the 25th of March 2020. That's incredible. So let's remind ourselves of the current standings. So out ahead we have Maxime Vachier-Lagrave and Nepomniachtchi on 4.5 out of 7, and they are a point clear of a group of 4 players on 3.5. That's Fabiano Caruana, Anish Giri, Wang Hao and Alexander Grishuk. And then at the bottom of the table, Ding Liren and Kirill Alexienko on 2.5 out of 7. I wouldn't dismiss those two, actually. A lot of players are just saying, oh, well, you know, that's basically they're out of it. But, well, let's see if they get a couple of good wins in those early stages. Who knows? So let's have a look at the players and let's see how they got there. So first of all, we have, let's see, this game. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave out ahead. And he played an absolutely crucial game against Nepomniachtchi in the 7th round, just before the break. So Maxime loves to attack. Of course, Maxime was the happy recipient of a little bit of luck when Radjabov withdrew from the Candidates 2 weeks before. I won't rehash all those arguments, but, well, Maxime took advantage, stepped in and, leading the tournament. He loves to attack. This game was absolutely crucial. Of course, you can see the full video if you want to on the channel. Do check out the links up there or down there. A brilliant game from Maxime. So first of all, he activated this bishop, put it out to a3, often such a great square for white in the French defence. Looking down here, and now slightly counterintuitive, but he actually gave up the bishop for the knight, but that allowed him to break through on the king side in classic fashion. And his judgment was absolutely correct, that even with so many pieces exchanged, basically he's managed to destroy black's king position, and queen and knight are a deadly attacking duo. And not just that, black's pawns are terrible as well. King and knight are also a very good defensive duo. That queen can't actually get to white's king. And the game concluded like this. It was really a wonderful performance. There you go, the king and knight stopping that queen from attacking. And now the queen is just breaking through. The game ended like this. And g7, and Maxime, well, here Nepo resigned. Reminder, if you want to see the full game, then do check out the links up there or down there, wherever they are. So Maxime playing very well. He scored a couple of very nice victories. He's had a funny lockdown year. His form hasn't been that good. He had a disastrous Tata Steel tournament. But of course, he can just dismiss those events. It's not his primary focus. He's concentrating on over-the-board play and this resumption of the Candidates. And that's his main focus, of course. Okay, what about Nepo? So Jan Nepomniachtchi, 4.5 points. He is such an up and down player. So he'd scored 3 wins, 1 loss and 2 draws in those first 7 rounds, including what for me was one of the best games of the event. He defeated Giri in the very first round. It was really complicated opening. Nepo got caught out, but fought back, outplayed Giri, and his technique in this endgame was absolutely superb. The king has to try and break through here, and he did that by playing Queen d3. Brilliant. Here actually Giri resigned. Of course, if rook takes, then that pawn is going to go through. I mean, the rook can hang around, but just let's see what could happen. And then e3, and well, that rook is going to be lost very soon. It was just a brilliant bit of technique. I love that final move, Queen d3. Oh, another variation. If let's see, rook g3. Again, the king travels round, and the point is that this endgame is winning. Black forces the win of that pawn. Brilliant game from Nepo, but he is an erratic player. He's a brilliant player, but sometimes he wins amazingly. Sometimes he just has an off day. So it's always interesting to watch him. And well, we saw that he continued his excellent form by winning the Russian Championship, a classical event in December. So very exciting. Then we have this group of 4 players. Well, Fabiano Caruana, he didn't start the candidates brilliantly, but he's still in there, and well, we know that he's a great attacking player, comfortable in complications. So this was his game against Alexienko from round 2 of the candidates, and here he broke through very well. I think his opening preparation in this game was excellent. And, he's a classical attacking player. And he finished off like this. Here, Alexienko resigned. Threat, rook takes bishop. So if f6, then the queen and knight, again, that deadly attacking duo, force a win like this. And rook e1 and mate in a couple of moves. But Fabiano lost against Ding, which brought him down to 50%. But Fabiano is very, very focused. You can tell that, this year, well, he played in the Tata Steel tournament, and I think it was unlucky not to win it. He had a pretty good tournament, got 8 out of 13, almost got to the top, but you could see he was on good form. And well, hasn't been playing so much, so many online tournaments, and obviously really focused on this. And we know he prepares brilliantly, so we could see him figure by the end of this tournament. Then we have Anish Giri. Now he's an interesting case because Anish, of course, did very well in Vaikonze. He's so on 50%, and I think, well, let's just see what happened right at the end of this game that he won in Yekaterinburg last year. So basically this was a classic Giri game, or at least the old Giri. He was grinding away, and finally, after 7 hours, Alexienko cracked. And in this position, it went like this. And after this move, not maybe an easy move to miss, but after this move, basically, white is losing. There is no way back, incredibly. And Giri did the biz. So yeah, a typical Giri game, exploiting a small advantage, a little bit of pressure, and grinding his opponent down. What's interesting is that in the past year, we've seen a far more aggressive Anish Giri. And, for example, in the Tata Steel, where, of course, he was joint first, he was playing games like this. So this was against MVL. And we see him launch forward with G4 and G5. And then castle queenside. And this was an absolutely wild game that Giri eventually won through a lot of hard effort. But he wasn't afraid to come under fire in this game. You know, Maxime had a very strong queenside attack, but Giri came through and won that one. So, you know, that was an interesting turnout. That, you know, and in these online games, we can see that Giri is playing far more adventurously. I know we can't read too much into rapid games, online games, but in Tata Steel we could see, you know, quite a different side to Giri's game coming out, which I thought was very interesting. So he is the man in form and clearly on a high. And, well, let's see how Giri does. You know, if I were betting on someone, I would say he's a pretty good outside bet. I mean, obviously Nepo and MVL are the favourites being out ahead, but Giri, well, let's see. It's going to be very, very interesting. Now, who else have we got? We have Wang Hao. Well, Wang Hao, on 50%, he defeated his compatriot Ding. Let's just have a very quick look at how he did that. So this was Ding against Wang Hao. And here, well, Ding got outplayed. And this was a shocker. I think Ding had basically overlooked this move, Rook G4, giving up the exchange to create two passed pawns. And here, well, it's a horrible position for white. That rook coming in here to attack, and attack here. Ding took, but now two connected passed pawns, and this is just way too much for white. Wang Hao is such... I think he's a very mysterious player. He plays in quite an original way. He's always seems to me to be quite a loner on the chess scene. Sometimes he just disappears for months at a time, and you don't know what he's doing. He doesn't seem to be playing chess, and then he comes back with a fantastic result. And during this lockdown year, he's hardly played any events at all. I mean, I'm not just talking about classical over the board. There wasn't much of that going on anyway. But even online, he wasn't playing much. What's he been doing? Has he been training intensively? Or, well, has he just been off doing something else, enjoying himself? You know, who knows? So a very interesting character, Wang Hao. Let's see what he's been up to, whether he's been working hard. Then we have Alexander Grishuk, who made 7 draws in the first half of the event. Obviously wasn't comfortable, was quite outspoken during the tournament. You know, he's obviously really dissatisfied with the fact the tournament was taking place at all. He didn't think it was right, but he was there. Can he find some form? Let's see. Time trouble is always his problem. And then at the bottom, yeah, we have Ding Liren. Incredibly, I was expecting him to do really well, but only on 2.5 out of 7. I hope that he bounces back. He's a great player, but even in lockdown, he hasn't had great form. So who knows what's going on there. And then Kirill Alexienko, well, rated way below everyone else. But only 23 years old, and actually I thought he did pretty well in that first half. 2 losses. But actually in the draws, he was well up for his opponents and matched his opponents very well. So youth is on his side, only 23. Let's see what he can produce. I'm sure that he will affect the tournament in one way or another. So there we go. I think the players that performed well in the lockdown can take heart from that. The players that didn't perform well in lockdown can just kind of dismiss that as a parallel world that has no bearing on this tournament, which is true, but it's hard to dismiss that from your mind. Who do you think is going to win this tournament? Let me know before the tournament starts. But I have to say, I have a very open mind on this, and I think we're going to see lots of twists and turns. The Candidates tournament is my favourite tournament of the whole chess calendar, and I think although this COVID break has been very unfortunate, somehow it lends something to this tournament, lends an extra significance to this tournament. And I hope it goes very smoothly, of course. And I'll be covering all the rounds on the PowerPlayChess channel. Don't miss it. So this is a week that will change the world of chess. At the end of it, we will know who the challenger will be for the world title, facing Magnus Carlsen in the end of November and December for the World Chess Crown. Don't miss it.